Bhagavatam is Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. So the purpose of studying Srimad Bhagavatam is to search Krishna. Actually, is to love Krishna and to appreciate the love of Krishna between himself and his devotees. This is the whole and sole purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you see Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto, introduction, Srila Prabhupada talks about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what is the purpose of studying Srimad Bhagavatam? That is given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Prema Pumato Mahan. The love for Krishna is the goal of studying Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is we have to keep in mind, because as we go through Srimad Bhagavatam, so many topics are covered. Why? Because if you see, right, Srimad Bhagavatam is presented in a very interesting way. So what is Srimad Bhagavatam? This is also called as Puran. Puran means it's a history, just like we study subjects, like history in our school and colleges. So Srimad Bhagavatam is an history of the universe, our universe, from the beginning of the creation. So that's why if you see one of the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, Atra Sarga Visarga Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Manvantareshanukata Nirodho Mukti Ashraya. So different Manvantara. So one of the topic is Manvantara. So the Lord appears in different Manvantara, different kalpas. So from the beginning of the creation, Swayambhu Manu, what has happened and what they have done and how they have achieved perfection and what was their goal. So this is what is taught. So we may get diverted here and there, but we need to understand the goal, because Sukadeva Goswami, while describing Krishna, is narrating incidents. Because to explain anything, he has to explain the background also. So that's how, if you see in the last session, so when Kumaras entered Vaikunta, so Sukadeva Goswami took an opportunity to explain the how Vaikunta looks like, what kind of living beings are there. So now he has introduced us to uh, the consciousness of the beings in the Vaikunta. So that helps us if we want to go back to spiritual abode, what should be the consciousness of mind. So now, because that gives us an indication, oh, currently my consciousness is filled with dirt. So, but the goal is the consciousness of a spiritual world. That means one of the qualities not being envious, non-enviousness. So like that. So that means now we have a target in front of us after going through this Bhagavatam, and then we need to work on ourselves to cultivate those qualities to enter into the abode of Lord. So things won't happen in a magical way. So we have to work on ourselves. That gives this Bhagavatam gives an indication. So now if we come to when after Jayavijay enters Vaikunta, Sukadeva Goswami graphically describes the Vaikunta, and then finally when they crossed the 6 gates, when they entered the 7th gate, the doorkeeper Jaya and Vijaya stopped Kumaras, and 4 Kumaras became very angry actually on these two doorkeepers of the Lord. They are the personal servant of the Lord. They became angry. How can any enemy can enter into a Vaikunta? And they curse them. You are not fit to stay here. So they curse them. And then Jaya Vijay immediately apologized to them. Please forgive. So, but understanding the situation, Krishna, of course, is a Vishnu form. He came personally there. And seeking forgiveness. So, especially this chapter 16 is wonderful chapter, right? If you want to know the nature of Krishna, how Krishna responds to a particular situation. In our life also so many situation comes. We also teach don't react, respond. So, but how does our Lord respond to situations? Because the thing is, he is also person. He also has a feelings. He also responds to situation in a particular behavior. So now the thing is, Sukadeva Goswami is capturing that and telling us, yes, if you want to please Krishna, you should also behave like that, because servant follows master. So now we'll see the interesting thing of this chapter 16. So many qualities of Krishna are there. You see, if one wants to become a leader, it is very good to cultivate these qualities. Why? You see, as soon as the situation happened, Krishna personally came and seeking forgiveness. So he's telling that the disrespect shown by my attendants actually has been displayed by me, because the doormen are my servitors. I take this to be an offense of myself. Therefore, I seek your forgiveness. Actually, rarely we see such kind of behavior from a leader. He's saying that the offense committed by my servants actually is an offense committed by me. So such a wonderful behavior. So no, who doesn't want to serve under such a master? Actually, it's very difficult to serve under a leader, because most of the times blame game happens. So, but the thing is here, Krishna is saying it is an offense of mine. So I am seeking forgiveness. And actually, no, these Kumaras were mesmerized. And you see that one more quality, he says himself that Krishna is speaking. Krishna is speaking so wonderfully. He's telling that I will never fail to give protection to my devotees. He said that if required, I will cut off my arm also. Actually, Krishna's body is transcendental, but Krishna is ready to cut off his arm for the protection of devotees. So in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, asks Arjuna to declare to the entire world, says, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. Don't fear. No, let everyone be understood that my devotees will never be perished. So I think you will not find such kind of a promise from any persons actually. So we should be confident in surrendering ourselves to Krishna and rendering devotional service. Definitely Krishna protects. If he's not protecting in certain situation, that means he has a certain different plan. Yes. So he never, so this is something amazing. He's saying that I will cut off my arm also if it is required to protect my devotees. So I don't think any leader will dare to tell such kind of statement. You know, I am your leader, you are serving under me. I will take care of in every circumstance. I don't think anyone will tell. Okay, so but Krishna is telling. So I think that's why when we say our constitutional position is a servant of Krishna, when you understand the qualities of our master, then definitely everyone will get inspired to work under him, obviously. And you see, Krishna was not happy with the curse of the Kumaras. No, just like devotees want to meet Krishna, and Krishna also wants to meet his devotees. Just like devotees are eager to meet Krishna, Krishna is eager to meet his devotees. This is also understood from this chapter. So Krishna is wait. He eagerly waits for their return. That's what he told them. Actually, the servants have transgressed against you, but he's telling that he's taking the no responsibility for the offense, but he's requesting what he's requesting. You see, even though he's a supreme lord, he is requesting for Kumaras. What is requesting? Please give them facilities to return to Vaikuntha as soon as possible. So now you can understand the Lord's mood, even though he's begging forgiveness, but he told that you are a saintly person, you please give them facility to come back to Vaikuntha as early as possible. He could have counteracted the curse, and he could have nullified the curse, and then he could have done many things, but he's requesting. That's why he's called Namo Brahmane Deva. Brahmane Deva. He was a worshipper of the Brahmanas. So he gives utmost respect to the Brahmanas, and what to speak of his devotees. So we need to understand how Krishna deals with his devotees. Yes, currently we are not in a situation, we don't even respond properly. But let us be inspired by these qualities of Krishna, and let us try to inculcate that how we should interact with the devotees. And that is the reason. So especially here, the Kumaras were mesmerized by the speech of the Lord. Actually, they were just eyes wide open, and they were just hearing what Krishna is speaking. They were not able to understand anything, whether Lord is pleased with them or angry with them. Kumaras were not able to understand, but their eyes were wide open and they were stunned, mesmerized by the speech of the Lord. Really, when Krishna speaks, everyone will be mesmerized. So even in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, when Krishna sings the flute, plays the flute, even cows when they're drinking, calves when they're drinking the milk of their mothers, they're stunned and they stopped drinking the milk. So here, Kumara is also stunned and they were just watching Krishna, but they were not able to understand whether actually Krishna is happy with them or angry with them. So that they were not able to figure out. Our Acharya says why they were not able to experience the sweetness of Krishna's words. Why? Because they have committed offense against the devotees, Vaishnava Parad. Who are the Vaishnavas here? Jay and Vijay are the devotees of the Lord, personally serving Krishna. And these Kumaras offended Vaishnavas. That's why they were not able to experience the sweetness of Krishna's mesmerizing words. So that means it shows the effect of Vaishnava Parad. So one should always be careful in avoiding the offenses against the devotees of the Lord. Why among all the offenses this is so critical? Why Lord takes this so seriously? Why? Because devotees are very dear to Lord Krishna. You see, like for example, your wife or children are dear to you. If someone comes and slaps at them or trying to do some mischievous activity with them, you will definitely immediately take reaction. That's why in Shastras, offense against the Vaishnavas is a mad elephant offense. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. So it's like mad elephant offense. When it enters into the garden enters into the garden, it destroys the entire garden. So why? Because Krishna gets hurt. So that's why when we see devotees, when we are interacting with them, we should see Krishna, whether Krishna will be pleased with my action or not. So devotees are conscious of that. That's why they don't want to hurt our beloved Lord Krishna. So that's why we want to avoid offenses against the devotees. Yes, there will be situations, tough situations will be there, but I think we need to remember and try to cultivate slowly that yes, oh Krishna, he is your devotee. Let me not hurt you. So that way we can always in connection with Krishna. And finally, no, Jay and Vijay were in no little bit sad situation. They were thinking that how can we stay without the presence of the Lord? So Krishna is telling that my approval is there because I desire to fight. In the spiritual world, there is no fighting. No, I desire to fight. This approval is there. My approval is there. So Krishna is telling to them, you go, and then I will experience fighting. The bliss of fighting with my devotees. And you see, devotees, they go to the extent of becoming enemies of Krishna for giving pleasure to Krishna. That's what Jaya and Vijaya are exhibiting. So for service of Krishna, we should never hesitate. Of course, Krishna will give such kind of service only to such kind of devotees. So Jaya and Vijaya, we should not mistake in them because it is the Lord's desire, Krishna's desire to fight. So Krishna, through the Kumaras, cursed the Jaya and Vijaya, and then finally Jaya and Vijaya dropped from the Vaikuntha. So Krishna, through this entire pastime, is instructing to especially practitioners not to commit offenses. And Krishna is giving assurance to the Jaya and Vijaya. Do not, do not fear. Do not fear. You will always remember me. So you always remember. So in like Yena Kena Prakarena Mana Krishna Padarayane. So in some way or other way, we should always remember Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam, like 10th canto 29th chapter 15th sloka says Kamam Krodham Vayam. So you see the Kamsa was always remembering Krishna by the fear of death. He was always remembering Krishna. So he was so afraid of Krishna. So, but what happened? Even though he was an enemy of Krishna, it was delivered quickly. Of course, we can't take this an example for our practice, but our practice, what is the thing? Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadanyo anavrutam anukulena Krishna anushilanam bhaktirutam. So Rupa Goswami is telling for us what should be the way of practicing Krishna consciousness. anukulyena, in a favorable way, not in the way of Kamsa. It was unfavorable way. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. So that way. So we should like, so but what, why this example is given? Even in the fear of Krishna, if one remembers Krishna, he gets deliverance. What to speak of such a devotee if he performs Krishna consciousness in a very favorable way? So this should give us a hope that yes, Krishna will definitely notice my devotion. Then finally Jayan Vijaya circumambulates the Lord, and then they gets departed from the Vaikuntha. So now, so when a jiva, of course, they are also jivas only, but the devotees of the Lord. So when they came, so then where do they enter for the first time? They entered into the womb of Diti, Kashyapa and Diti. And it was already known in the evening time, they were united. And Kashyapa was not willing for a union, but still Diti forced. Of course, there was a weak-heartedness. So in one sense, we are also weak-hearted. So this example shows how we have to be careful. How we have to be careful. So Kashyapa told, because they have united at a wrong time, their sons, he warned them, like her sons, especially because Kashyapa has many wives actually, but one of the wife is Diti. So he warned her that your two sons are going to be demons, asuras. They are going to create trouble to all the living entities across the three worlds. And you see, when these Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu entered into the womb of Diti, there were evil omens everywhere. Everywhere evil omens were there. Like for example, cows, instead of giving milk, they were giving blood. She jackals were, no, they were yelling like anything. So no, in city we don't see such but the thing is, omens are there which shows that there is something going to happen in a wrong way. So there's a detailed list of omens are given. So that earlier time, whenever people used to go out of a home also, they always used to check, like for example, some omens they don't want to meet, and they want to go in a auspicious time. Of course, one who practices devotion may not be, but it's always good to that. But currently we don't practice all such omens. But here Hiranyaksha appearance and Hiranyakashipu's appearance shows that so many omens are there, and it says that that means something terrible is going to happen. And Hiranyakashipu, because he got a boon from Brahmaji that is almost like immortal, he was unafraid of death. And his younger brother is following the orders of Hiranyakashipu. You see such a combination of brothers. Actually, ideally, younger brother should follow elder brother, but the thing is, here is a wrong combination. Elder brother being an asura, and younger brother being an obedient to elder brother. So his activities are also demoniac. And then this Hiranyaksha, on the strength of Hiranyakashipu's boon, he was traveling all across the three worlds. He went to Swargaloka, and then Indra and all the demigods, they were afraid of him and they fled. And then Hiranyaksha was feeling that without any battle, I won this. So he was roaring like anything. And then finally, he enters into the ocean where Vibhavari, the capital of Varuna. So you see, these sometimes this appears something, but actually Prabhupada explains. Here in the entire creation, just like in our government also, we have a water department. If you see in BBMP, there's a water department, electricity department, and all of those departments were no, they will be governed by some in charges, some heads. So similarly, the head of the water resources, water bodies, who is the head? Varuna. So we need to understand nothing in this creation happens automatically. Either creation or maintenance or a destruction, nothing happens randomly. There are living entities, empowered living entities, they are called demigods, who are in charges of those departments: fire department, air department, water department. Every department has a one in charge, like Vayu, Varuna, Indra, Chandra, Surya. So modern civilization thinks everything is in an impersonal way. There's nothing, no person behind anything. and everything was created just like by a blast. So, but Vedic culture is Vedic knowledge is completely against this. So, when Hiranyaksha entered the ocean, he was swimming for many years and then finally reached the capital called Vibhavari, and then where Varuna. And Varuna knew, because he is also a devotee of Krishna, this Hiranyaksha's purpose, and he was challenging for a fight. Varuna, being intelligent, he said, I am too old, now I am not indulging in any battles. So for your hunger for fighting, I can't satisfy your hunger. So better you go and fight with Lord Vishnu. And then that battle is dropped, and then he goes and searches for Vishnu, and Narada gives the hint where Vishnu is there, and then finally he entered Garbhodaka ocean. So if you see, right, where is this Garbhodaka ocean? If you see in this entire our universe or any universe, Brahmanda, which is in the egg shape, so half of the universe is filled with water. That is called Garbhodaka ocean. So where Lord as a Garbhodak Sai Vishnu, he stays, he resides on the top of the water. Okay, so Hiranyaksha entered into the Garbhodaka ocean, and then he went, almost Rasatalam toward the lower side. And you see, what is the speciality of a Varaha? Varaha, he has a tusk. He's a pig actually, wild pig, but with a tusk. No, in the forest also, the pigs will be there. They will have a tusk. And where do they stay? It's like Kichad. No, ocean is like a Kichad. So Lord Varaha was there on the tusk. That Mother Earth was there, and at that time, this guy Hiranyaksha came, and even though he was a devotee of Lord Krishna, because now he is playing the role of a demon, he blasted Krishna like anything. He really blasted, and he was using abusive words. And Lord Varaha, he was actually pained by the shaft-like words of the demon. So now you can understand, see, Krishna also feels the pain of abusive words, because Krishna has that propensity of feeling that pain. That's why when someone insults us, we also feel the pain. So we can see that Janmadhyasya, whatever we see in the material world that has a source from Krishna. So everything has a source from Krishna. So Varahadev, he felt the pain of those abusive words. Of course, then because Mother Earth was there on the task, so she was frightening actually. So, and bearing the pain of those abusive words, and then he raised from the Garbhodaka ocean. And while in the on the way also, this Hiranyaksha was using abusive words. And finally, Varahadev kept the Mother Earth on the Garbhodaka ocean floating on the water. So that's why our understanding of the cosmology also is different from the Vedic cosmology. You will completely understanding will be different of the Vedic cosmology. You see Sukhdev Goswami telling in such a nice way. He's also telling about cosmology, where the planets are there, where exactly are situated. So now after Varahadev keeping the Mother Earth on the water, then he replaced Varaha, and there's a great fight happens. And Lord enjoys the fight, because for that purpose only he came, right? Lord wanted to enjoy the fight, which he can't enjoy in the spiritual world, and for that purpose, no, Lord enjoy, and the fight happens for so many days. Exactly don't know how many days. So happens for a long time, and then Varade waits for a particular interval where he wants to kill uh, Hiranyaksha. But Hiranyaksha uses so many illusory tricks also to attack Varaha. But Varahadev is Yogeshwara. He has all the mystic potencies. He is the source of all the mystic potencies. And then he uses his chakra. In the chakra, with the influence of the chakra, all the illusory tricks goes away. So, but finally, Krishna, that Varahadev, kills Hiranyaksha. But one speciality happens here. What is the speciality? Because Varahadev touched the body of Hiranyaksha, even after Hiranyaksha left the body, what happened? His body was not fading. Still, there was a effulgence was there, glow was there on the face. So Brahma and everyone came. There is such a fortunate death of this guy who could have such kind of blessed death. Because generally when the soul leaves, immediately body starts decomposing and the glow fades away. But in his case, it is different. Why? Because Varahadev personally touched the body of Hiranyaksha. So Uddhav also says, Tataiva Chani Naraloka Veera Ya Ahave Krishna Mukaravinda Netre Pibantu Nayanabhirama Parthasraputa Padamapurasya. Though Krishna, when kills, no, in the battlefield, when Arjuna was releasing the arrows, all the soldiers, while seeing the face of Lord Krishna, when they leave the bodies, they went back to the spiritual abode. So here, Hiranyaksha was delivered. So you see one more thing also, Krishna's past and similar thing happens. Putana, when Putana was killed by baby Krishna, her body was cut into pieces, and when that body was burnt, everywhere the fragrance, so nice fragrance. Have you ever seen the dead body giving fragrance? But Putana's body was giving fragrance. Why? Because touch of the Krishna. So now Sukhdev Goswami is saying, Hare, what kind of a grateful soul would not render loving service to such a great master? He tells, Tam Sukaradyam Rijubir Ananya Sharanay. The Lord can be easily pleased by spotless devotees. You see, who is that such fortunate soul who does not render? That means he is indirectly telling, that means one who doesn't render service to Krishna, that means he is not a fortunate soul. He is really what? Unfortunate. So our Narottam Das Thakur says, Manusha Janama Paya Radha Krishna Nabhajiya Janiya Suniya Vishakain. If one has taken birth in the human form of life and not worshipping Radha and Krishna, his life is doomed. So Prabhupada says in that purport, everyone is a rogue and thief. No, we are getting sunshine, air, moonshine, water, everything for free. Actually, BBMP must be charging, but actually water is free, air is free. But we never realize the blessings we are receiving. And still without acknowledging the Lord, we go on enjoying these gifts of the Lord. That's why Prabhupada is calling everyone of us as thieves and rogues. If we want to acknowledge the Lord, we need to render devotional service. So now, after this incident is completed now. So because if you see, right, entire Bhagavatam is a question and answer. Especially in the third canto, Vidura and Maitreya, they are asking questions. So now after this episode, now again, so the question comes: how does the universe was further populated? So one time, especially this chapter deals with the different creation of the, it is called secondary creation, different creation of the different living entities. When I was working in my first organization, one of my friend asked, no, he asked, he is very, very intelligent guy. He told that, can you tell me how does the species evolve? Because we don't believe on the Darwin's evolution theory. As per the Darwin's evolution theory, what happens? First, one small single cellular living entity, and then it multiplies multicellular, then trees, plants, activities, and then monkeys, and then finally human being. There's no concept of higher beings. Human beings, it will stop. So he was asking that, what is that film? No, there was a one in our childhood. We saw one film where it's called gorilla or some kind of no, it was attacking all the and eating all the human beings. Dinosaur. So then, what about dinosaur? So, but if you see this chapter, right, all the species were created in the beginning of the creation. All the species, snakes, reptiles, everything, human beings, everything, all at one stretch. So now, what about dinosaur? Whether the species is there or not? Because in that film, when I saw in my childhood, no, humans are very short. Dinosaur is very big. Actually, the thing is, they have concocted that film. If you see, right, any animal generally has a size height little less than human beings. Some will have, but so if you see different ages, heights of the people in different ages, height will be different. In Treta Yuga and Satyuga, height of the persons very tall. Even in Kali Yuga, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, his height was 7 feet. You see, 7 feet means everyone used to look like that above. So Of course, dinosaurs may be there, but their height is also very less than human being. None of the animals, see, entire creation is giving facility, especially in the human species, to realize the God. So that's why Krishna will never allow any other wild animals to unnecessarily kill human beings also. But if you go and into the forest, definitely you will face the danger. So, but this chapter says all the living entities were created in the beginning of the creation. So that means it completely rejects the Darwin's evolution theory, straightforward. But unfortunately, still we are teaching our children Darwin's evolution theory. So that's why modern science is a organized and systematic attempt to remove God from our lives, and that's happening. Many people, they are turning into atheism. So yes, so now what happens, how the universe was further populated. Now the concept of Sukadeva Goswami bringing that, Devahuti and Kardama Muni. So Swayambhu Manu is the first Manu, no is the first Manu who started procreating children. So now this he has a two sons, Priyavrata, Uttanapada, and three daughters, Prasuti, Akuti, and Devahuti. So now in this third canto, Devahuti and Kartama Muni, that was described, and later other generations are also described. So Kardama Muni, he was a devotee of Lord. He performs austerities for 10,000 years, and then he gets the darshan of the Lord. So now you see, when we tell in our classes, you can also see Krishna face to face, but you have to prepare, like we have to prepare our consciousness. You see here, for Kardama Muni to see the Lord, he has performed austerities for 10,000 years, but finally he can see Krishna. So similarly, Bhagavatam tells us we are also performing devotional service. One day, definitely, we will meet Krishna face to face. We can meet him, we can shake hands with him. Krishna shakes hands with Brahmaji in Bhagavatam. So we can also meet Krishna face to face, shake hands with him, play with him. All those things are there. Bhagavatam tells that. So Kardama Muni performs 10,000 years austerities, and then finally gets the darshan of the Lord. And he prays one of the wonderful prayer. He says that the perfection of the eyes is to see the form of the Lord. And actually, Prabhupada goes on saying that perfection of the senses is to engage in the service of the Lord. Actually, even Gopi says, what is the use of the eyes if it can't take the darshan of the Lord? No use. So such kind of harsh statements are there in Bhagavatam. So that means what they are trying to tell is every sense in our body has to be engaged in the service of the Lord. Otherwise, they are useless. They are useless. So, and when the darshan of the Lord, so we also can learn when Krishna appears, what we should do. We should pray to Krishna. We should glorify Krishna. So when we go to the temple also, we should also follow this attitude of praying and glorifying to Krishna. So now he glorified Krishna, and then he was telling about his expressing his desire. Although less intelligent people worship Krishna for some material desires, I am also praying you for a suitable wife. He's telling indirectly that in Bhagavad Gita also we say Kama istaisya rita jnana. So only less intelligent people worship demigods to fulfill their desires. Actually, he could have done that also, because generally, if you want a good wife, the Shastras recommend that you worship goddess Durga, Uma. Then one will get a good wife. For a good husband, one can worship Lord Shiva. So, but Kardama Muni, he did not worship Uma. He worshipped Krishna only, because he know that even if I have to have asked some material desire, I should ask Krishna only. So we have one shloka, Kama Sarva Kamova Moksha Kama Udarati. Whether you have desires, no desires, full of desires, or impersonal liberation desire, any desire, you worship Krishna, of course. So that's what Bhagavatam says. But pure devotional service means we don't render service to Krishna for any desire. That we need to remember. But if at all we need to ask some desire, ask Krishna only. Then, so then he says that soon your desire will be fulfilled, and Manu will come to give his daughter. So yes, and Manu will come and then offers his daughter, and there was a beautiful conversation. He says that if I'm coming to give my daughter, you should not reject. Otherwise, you will have to set somewhere else, then where that person may not behave properly with you. And he encourages that, of course. No, so Kardama Muni before only knows that, because Lord personally told him, when Kardama Muni gives offer, then when Swayambhu Manu offers his daughter, Kardama Muni accepts, and then marriage of the Kardama Muni and Devahuti happens, and Swayambhu Manu goes back to his place, Bahrishmati. He stays in Bahrishmati. So, and Swayambhu Manu led a Krishna consciousness, Krishna conscious life. Even Manu, being a Manu, he was also practicing Krishna consciousness. And then here Bhagavatam says that even though his lifespan is 71 Divya Yugas, such a long span, but he was untouched by miseries. Why? Because he was practicing Krishna consciousness. So that what we can understand is, irrespective of whoever may be in the material world, they have to go through the miseries. And one way to be untouched by miseries is practicing Krishna consciousness. And the marriage of Kardamuni Devahuti happens, and then Devahuti serves her husband very nicely in a chaste way. So this is an ideal combination: chaste wife and a Krishna conscious husband. So even the current age, most of the marriages don't work out. So I think we can also learn something of the qualities of wife and husband here, and try to follow how husband should be, how wife should be. It's not that only wife should be chaste, what kind of qualities husband should exhibit. That's what Kardamuni is showing. And no, chaste, that Devahuti served her husband for many years like that. Hmm? And then she became very weak actually. And seeing her condition, of course, then Kardama Muni blesses her with the love for Krishna. And then, being a woman, she expresses her desire. I need children. So you please, give me children. So, and then because she became weak, and then through his mystic powers, he made her to enter into Bindu Sarovar lake along with servants, and then she comes very beautiful way, and then using his mystic potencies, he created a big aerial mansion. It is like a big, big city, or almost like a big, state, that big. And then he traveled all, both of them, they traveled all across, and then finally he expanded into nine forms simultaneously, and simultaneously impregnated Devahuti and 9 daughters who birth. So you see, a mystic yogi, of course, he's a devotee also, but he has also mystic potencies. So he can expand into certain forms. So if you see the difference between a mystic yogi and a Krishna also expands, but Krishna Lila expanded into 16,100 uh, 100 times simultaneously. But what is the difference between there and here? So all the forms can act independently. Here, the yogi can only expand into a limited forms, and whatever in one form is doing in another form also he does. So not so much independence. That's why Krishna is called Avigna Swarat. Is completely independent. So now after 9 daughters, when the Devahuti was blessed with 9 daughters, Kardama Muni, because before only he tells to Swayambhu Manu, on one condition I will accept your daughter, as soon as she is blessed with the children, I will leave her. So now Kardama Muni want to leave her and then go into the forest and then practice Krishna consciousness. So now at that time she was lamenting. Devahuti was lamenting. Oh, I'm such a fool. Actually, what happened? I associated with you for sense gratification. Actually, I should have associated with you for path of liberation. I did not cultivate any knowledge in your association. So indirectly, she is saying that she expressed her a desire for a son who can enlighten her in Krishna consciousness. So he understood. Anyhow, that is also known to Kardamuni, because Krishna tells him previously that I will appear as your son as Kapila. So then he again unites with her, and then Lord Kapila. But interesting thing here, Krishna can appear through any means. Like for example, as a nursing dev, he appeared through pillar. As a Varade, he appeared through the nostril of Brahmaji. And as a Krishna, he appeared in a different way. Like he was transferred from the heart of Vasudeva and then to the heart of Yashoda and then to the womb. But as a Kapila, interesting thing is he appeared through the semen of uh, Kardma. So what Prabhupada is telling is Krishna appears by his own will in any way. So now you can't judge why Krishna is appearing only in this way. He's independent. So Ajopisan Avyayatma Bhutanam Isharopisan. Krishna appears by his own internal potency. And when the sun appears, then Krishna, that Kardama Muni, and then he prays to son Kapila, and then what happens? Then he leaves. Interesting thing is everyone wants to see Krishna face to face and then wants to serve him. But here is one interesting person. Even though Krishna appeared as his son, he wanted to leave that place. He wanted to leave Kapila, and then that was an interesting thing. But there are some lessons why he did like that. Because one of the thing is everyone should detach from the family life after a certain age. So he wanted to show that, and there is other reason also, Dasi rasa and Vatsalya rasa. So but the thing is, most of us here are in Grihas ashram, married life. So it's not that everyone till the end of the life they are only in the married Grihas ashram, in the married life. So one should try after a certain age should retire and exclusively practice Krishna consciousness. That's what Kardamuni is telling. And then after Kardamuni leaves um, his wife Devahuti and son Kapila, then mother Devahuti now taking a chance and asking the glories of a devotional service. Asks her son to explain about the devotional service. And Devahuti asks so many questions and Kapila answers the questions. He explains many things and finally he says the only auspicious path is devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So any kind of yogi, unless he engages in bhakti yoga, is not going to attain any kind of result. So that is the best path is to practice devotional service to Krishna. That is bhakti yoga. So Krishna also tells in Bhagavad Gita, uh, what is what he tells, I can only be understood Bhaktyamam Abhijanati. So Krishna stresses the importance of Bhakti Yoga also in Bhagavad Gita, and here also Kapila is stressing same thing. That's why Bhagavad Gita teaching, Bhagavatam teaching, they match. So now the question is, okay, then how Bhakti we can get? So then he goes on saying, Bhakti is attained by the association of devotees. So Moksha Dwaram Apavritam. So he tells you one interesting thing. What attachment from the matter is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But if the same attachment is diverted to the devotees association, what happens? It is a door for liberation. Even Rishabdev also says same thing. So Prabhupada is explaining that attachment can't be, definitely attachment will be there. But only thing is now attachment has to be transferred from the matter to the devotees. So that's why he's telling that association of devotees is very important to attain bhakti. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra hoy, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi hoy. Even 11th canto, if you see, King Nimi also says to Navayogendras, he tells, Durlabho Manusho Deho Dehinam Shanabandhura, Tatrapi Durlabham Manye Vaikuntha Priyadarshan. He's telling that association of devotees is the rarest thing. So that's why all of us are gathering here to associate with the devotees. But what we should do in the association of devotees is chanting and hearing about Krishna. Of course, we discuss little bit about practical things, but major portion, what should be the meeting of the association of devotees? Association of devotees means chanting and hearing about Krishna, discussing about devotional service. So now he's telling, okay, you see how Krishna is explaining logically as a Kapila. He's telling first, he said bhakti, then how to get bhakti, then association of devotees. Then he's saying, oh, who is the sadhu, who is a devotee? Then he's giving a symptoms. This is very important for us. Now we may proclaim ourselves as a devotee. Now we have to check, are we a devotee or not? Titikshava karunika suhruda sarvadehinam ajata shatrava shanta sadhava sadhu bhushana. If we have these symptoms, then as per Kapila, we are a devotee. If we don't have these symptoms, we are practicing devotional service. We have not yet reached the stage of devotee. We are in a practicing phase. It's very hard to see because everyone feels you are a nice devotee, such a nice devotee you are. So, but as per Kapila, These qualities have to be there for a sadhu, for a devotee. So now you see, bhakti is a science. It is not sentiment only. So now we have to have a checklist. Checklist is there now. No, sadhana also we have checklist, but that is not the ultimate checklist. What is the checklist? Titikshava, are you tolerant or not? Karunika, are you merciful or not? In all circumstances. So instead of, then sadhana's next level should be, this checklist should be there. I have to check every day. Am I having these qualities or not? Because otherwise, because Kapila is suggesting the association of such devotees. So now you may ask a question now, we don't have that quality. Yes, our goal is that. We should not forget the goal in between saying someone is praising or that. But our goal is this. Of course, our ultimate goal is the love for Krishna. But love can only come when these qualities are also there. Otherwise, how can love manifest in a hard-hearted person? No, it can't manifest. So now what do they do? He was telling very nice loka. Madashraya katam rishta ashrinvanti katayanti cha tapanti vividastapa naitan madgata chetasaha. No, the sadhus, they always engage in chanting and hearing about me. That is the reason tapanti vividastapa. They do not suffer any material miseries. In our Gita course session one also we are telling this, but it is also there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Because of constant engagement in chanting and hearing, even though so many miseries are across, we will not be touched by them. And what will happen if you associate with devotees, such kind of devotees? Ultimately, they take you to the prema. So this is a very famous shloka Bhagavatam. All of you can try to remember. Satam prasangat mama vidya samvito bhavanti hritkarna rasayana kata tajosana dasapavargavatmani shraddharatir bhaktir anupravishyate. In the association of devotees, if you are constantly chanting and hearing, discussing about the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Lord, and they are very pleasing to the ear also. Hritkarna rasayana kata. And what will happen? Slowly, Shraddha, our faith also increases. Rati, our attachment also increases. Bhakti, and finally, you will get the devotion and then love also. This is how. So that's why, what is the formula is giving? Bhakti is the only auspicious path. For Bhakti, we need association of devotees. Who are those kind of devotees? We need to figure out ourselves also, others also. And what do? They constantly chant and hear. Because they do that activity, they were not touched. If you do like that, what will happen? They will take you to the love of God, which is our goal. You see, such a scientific way what Kapila is explaining. I'm not going into much details. Okay. So now how bhakti should be performed? Even though Kardama Muni asked for a material desire, Kapila is saying bhakti should be performed without any material desire. So this is a very important for us. As much as possible, we should not perform devotion for any of the material desires. And actually, I will tell you in a little later way, Kapila explains about the types of devotional service also. But we should remember, we should not perform devotional service for any of the desires, for just for simply pleasing Krishna. So now, no, Mother Devati has a question. If I perform devotional service like you, won't the devatas be angry with me? That Kapila says, Mad Bhayad Vati Vatoyam, Surya Stapati Mad Bhayad. No, wind blows out of fear of me, sun shines out of fear of me, fire burns out of fear of me. So no need to be afraid. So in another fifth canto, it comes Yata Taror Mula Nishechanena. In the shloka, it comes that if you worship Krishna, no need to worship anyone else. So this is the thing that Mother Devati is clarifying again. So now Kapila is saying we should perform Tivra Bhakti. So now later, and after understanding the devotional service, Mother Devavati wanted to know, she was inquisitive to understand Jnana and Yoga, the path of Sankhya and Yoga. Because if you see in Bhagavad Gita also, these are there. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So she is also inquisitive to understand. Now she understood what I should do. I should perform devotional service in the association of devotees. That's it. You see, Srila Prabhupada, he took the essence and then he gave us the simple thing. Even if you're not able to understand everything, if you follow what Srila Prabhupada is telling, he has given the essence. In the association of devotees, we perform exclusive devotional service. So now Kapila goes on explaining about the Sankhya. So what is Sankhya? No, in Telugu also we have number Sankhya. Sankhya means count. Sankhya means Sankhya Yoga means counting the elements, basic building blocks of the creation. uh, Lord Kapila is counting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until 24 elements. This is called Sankhya Yoga. It's counting. So you see, the modern science, the basic building blocks are what? And what are the basic building blocks of creation as per Lord Kapila? They're completely different. No, Panchatattva, no, all of 24 elements, right? So those are the basic building blocks of the creation. So even now, people, scientists are trying to find out the source of everything through Hadron Collider experiment and everything, but still they are not able to figure out. But if at least they try to explore this path of understanding there are 24 elements, and if they try to prove, then they may get some clue, but they don't accept our scriptures. That is really unfortunate. So then Sankhya, but what is the purpose of knowing Sankhya? One may feel actually Sankhya Yoga, you need to be very attentive in going through so many technical details. In our electronics subject, we have electromagnetic wave theory. It is so dry subject, so many formulas are there. Like I hope in every field like that it is there. So Sankhya Yoga, no, very technical, very technical. He explains in so detail how from Pradhan to Mahatattva, from Mahatattva to false ego, and then false ego with three modes, how then that will happen, and how mind, senses, sense objects, devatas, and then finally Panchabhuta, and then Tanmatra, how everything appears. So technically he gives. Last session also I told, even if one is able to go through this cycle, one cannot replicate that. Why? Because for everything to manifest, Krishna personally has to be there in that. Krishna's hand, and then Kala, and then Krishna's external energy. Without these three things, even if you understand the cycle, you cannot replicate. So that's mean Krishna personally involved in the creation. Of course, through his incarnations, Krishna doesn't personally involve through his incarnations as Vishnus, three Vishnus. Okay, so one by learning Sankhya Yoga, what will happen? We will be able to come out of the influence of the three modes of the material nature. This is the assurance, because now you know everything detail, then you know how to interact with them. So finally, who is responsible for Jiva's action? This is very important. In my childhood also I heard one person in front of me, he was scolding Krishna, he was scolding God. What kind of God he is giving all miseries to the people. But the thing is, if you understand Bhagavatam, you will understand actually who is responsible for our suffering in our life or happiness in our life. Actually, our actions. Our actions. So Kapila also says that our actions are responsible for our distress and happiness also. So Krishna approves, Krishna sanctions. So this is what. So people without understanding about God, they go on blasting God. Of course, by that they will enter into the hellish regions. So, but the thing is, at least as students of Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, we should understand if we are having any situation that is unfavorable way, that is because of my own actions. So now Mother Devavati is asking one question, interesting question. This actually, when I was going through that today, it struck me a lot. Even after practicing Sankhya Yoga, that what will happen? The great fear of bondage may come. Great fear again may come again. So, so he tells that Mother Devati is asking question, and this is true. We see in devotees' life also they are practicing Krishna consciousness, but after some time, again the fear comes or attachment comes. So Kapila is giving a very nice instruction for all of us. This is especially important because now we are in the practicing field of Krishna consciousness, but he's telling about what should be done. Yes, even if the great fear of bondage is there, that can be removed by Tivra Bhakti. So this he gives the details in 27th chapter, in the 21 and 22 shloka. This is very important for us. What is meant by Tivra Bhakti and how we should perform Tivra Bhakti. It's very important for all of us. And then of course he explains about Ashtanga Yoga. That is Bhakti Mishra Ashtanga Yoga. And then I'm not going into the details because there are technical details, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, and all those things are there. And then how one should meditate on the different limbs of Krishna from the starting from the lotus feet and then up to the lotus face. So that is the way. So then, after explaining Sankhya and yoga, again Mother Devati asked for the more details of devotional service. Then in this chapter, explanation of devotional service by Lord Kapila explains about different classes of bhakti. Bhakti by nature is a transcendental. But one thing is telling, depending on the performer of bhakti, if devotee is in the mode of ignorance or passion or goodness, accordingly, what will happen? Devotional service is also classified into 81 types. How 81? When I was first time reading 81, I did not get that clue, but I can explain you because later I figured it out. No, three modes are there: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And we have 9 limbs of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedan. 9 into 3, 27. And each of them also of 3 grades: highest, medium, and lower. So that's how Prabhupada says 27 into 3, 81. So that means you see, I can perform my chanting also in ignorance, in passion, or goodness, and everything, pure goodness also beyond them. Kirtanam also everything. So he goes and explaining about what are the characteristics of performing devotional service in ignorance. He's telling in ignorance, one is pride. Yes, I am a great devotee. And a violent and angry. He's envious of others. So enviousness. You see, that means now all of us have to judge ourselves. I'm telling again, bhakti is a science. So if I'm while performing devotional service, if I'm becoming envious, that means I can definitely become envious. That's what Kapila is telling. Don't think you don't become envious. Now, if you are becoming envious, that means our devotion is in the lowest grade. And if you are becoming pride and then proud, that means I am in lowest grade of devotional service. Of course, we should not stop, but he's telling we should not stop there. We should grow further. And while performing devotional service, if a motive is that, oh, everyone will appreciate me and I am such a great devotee, and with the purpose of getting some material enjoyment or opulence, that means my devotional service in the passion. So you are understanding, right? So if you are chanting can also give different results based on our consciousness. And if one does performs devotion in goodness, that means he's just as doing as a duty and only for the purpose that I will come out of these miseries of life. So, and just offering the results of his activity just to free from the results of fruity act. That means he's in a goodness. So, but what is actually devotion? So now you see, right, we can understand what kind of devotion are we perform. So that means we have a long way to go. We have a long way to go. He tells what is the pure bhakti. Madguna Shruti Matrena Mai Sarva Guhashaye Manogatira Vichina Yata Gangamba Samudra. Just like Ganges flow to the ocean. So a devotee's heart naturally gets attracted to Krishna just by hearing. And he says that Salokya Sasti Samipya Sarupya Ekattumapyuta Diyamanam Nagrinanti Vinamatsyavanandana. My devotees, they are not interested in anything, any kind of liberation. So of course, then he goes on saying that we should avoid offenses in bhakti. What kind of offenses? He's telling one should not disregard me as a Paramatma. So what Krishna Kapila is telling that I should see Krishna as a Paramatma in every living entity. That's what first thing. If you are not seeing Krishna as a Paramatma, that means you will disregard him. Second thing is hatred. Don't hate any living entities. Third, criticism. Criticizing any living entity unnecessarily. So these are an obstacles in the path of devotion. So like that, he continues and then he explains about the power of a time, and especially a family person under the influence of a time, what he does, impetus for family life. He explains that for maintaining family life, he goes on committing violence just to earn money. But interesting thing in this is, he tells that a person may earn money by any means. But the what happens when he leaves the body, that money stays back here, but the person goes there. And now you may tell Yamaraj, "Arey, my money is there. Why are you punishing me?" No, that is not taken. So the person is responsible. So that is what it is said. A person, a journey of the person for just for his anxiety to maintain family, what all he commits a violence, and then finally he goes to hell. And then he goes on telling how a person is carried from here to hellish planetary system. You know, right? It is said that in 99,000 yojanas, in just a few moments, in muhurtas, the living entity will be taken, and then constant punishment will be there, severely beaten, and hunger and thirst will be there. And you know, he wanted to drink water, there's no water. No, he has to cross through severe regions. So it's a clear description is there. So Kapila says sometimes such kind of hellish punishments are there in even on the earthly planet also. So that's why he's telling that don't be bound by the fruitive activities. And what happens when one goes to hellish planet? Then he, you know, he goes in front of Yamaraj, and then Yamaraj punishes him with a different kind of punishments. And then after going through certain punishment, he enter into the lower species. And then again the cycle starts. Punarapi mananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam. Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev. So he's traversing from one species to other species to other species. And finally, what happens when he gets a human form of life? Again, he enters the takes the shelter of a semen of a father and enters the mother. And now you see, this chapter is very interesting. Whatever biology says, that entire cycle is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. This was spoken no, at least 5,000 years ago, beginning of the Kali Yuga. You see how what happens to the womb exactly in what month? When does consciousness come? When does the child feels hunger, thirst? So severe pain is there in the birth. So no, one of the thing is like no, when a woman becomes pregnant, she is asked to not to eat some kind of foodstuffs. Like for example, if she eats sour foods, spicy foods, what happens? The child in the womb, he feels no pain because of the intense heat caused by the gastric gas within the intestine. So that's why it is said pregnant woman has to follow certain diet. No, of course, no one follows nowadays. I saw some pregnant women taking even no ice cream. So such what kind of a punishment the child must be going through in that womb? It's a horrible pain. And then he has to bow shaped. And finally in the seventh one he gets the consciousness, and then if he's a fortunate, what he gets, he remembers the his past lifetimes and feels the pain. Oh, what has done, what kind of mistake he has done, and then he prays to Krishna. But only fortunate soldiers. And finally, at the end of ninth month, he was pushed downward. That's why every hospital, they know definitely when the pregnant delivery is going to happen, it's like a life and death situation. No child has to come through a small hole, almost breathlessness, intense pain will be there, intense pain will be there. And when child is coming through that hole, he forgets, out of the intense pain, he forgets all his past life, and then he started crying. And again, what happens? Everyone is happy. Oh, we are blessed with a child. So, and in the process of taking care of the child, they give the child something which the child even don't want. So his life is really miserable. So that's why Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanudarshanam. So if actually what are the real problems? The real problems are the birth, death, old age, and disease. And you see birth, death, just now we discussed. They are very, very painful. So only in the human form of species, Atato Brahma Jignasa, one can inquire into the Brahman and one can try to come out of this birth and death cycle. Otherwise, one is just wasting the time. Radha Krishna Navajiya Janiya Sunya Visha Kainu. So we are just wasting our human form of life if we don't worship Radha and Krishna. after taking this. So he goes and explain, if after taking that human birth, if he again associate with bad people, bad association, now his life is doomed. So that's why in this Kapila's teaching, the association is very much stressed. So that's why, if you see, right, we can tell the person based on the association of what he has, based on the friends he has, we can tell what kind of person he is. So that's why we should always be in the association of devotees. Not only that, we should avoid the wrong association in the form of TV, YouTube, all the social media. No, but we are working in a corporate industry, so we have to be very, very careful, because bad association not only through people, through these websites, through TV, through mobile, through social media, they can come. And obviously, we should be in careful in choosing our association, because our association decides. Because Lord Kapila is telling, if after getting that birth, if he's again choosing the wrong association, that means he's now again destined for a hellish life. That's going to happen. So like that, finally he instructs on that, and then he instructs further Mother Devahuti, and then finally he retires. But one important thing, before he retiring to the Ganga Sagara, what he does, he tells his mother what is the power of the holy name. This is the very important shloka. You see, after telling everything, now he's bringing to the chanting of the holy names and its power. So now, from the day one, we all get the chanting of the holy names. You see what Prabhupada is giving based on the Shastra, Srimad Bhagavatam. These are the two wonderful shlokas. Yan namadeya shravananukirtanad, yat prahanad, yat smaranad apik pachit, swadopi sadhya shravanaya kalpate, kuta punaste bhagavanu darshanam. So, so one who has chanted the holy name of Krishna, chanting the pastimes of Krishna, offering obeisances or even remembering him, such kind of person, even born in a family of Chandala, dog eaters family, he is eligible to perform Vedic sacrifice. You see, such a powerful the name of the Lord Krishna. So we should chant Krishna's holy name with utmost attention. With utmost attention. Even a Chandala is eligible to perform sacrifice if he chants the holy name. And he goes on saying, Aho batas sapachato gariyan ejjivagre vartate nama tubhyam. Te pus tapaste juhu sashnurarya brahma anuchur nama grunanti yate. Oh, how glorious are they who stands are chanting your holy names. Even if they are born in the family of dog eaters, such persons are worshipable. So one who has chanted the holy name of Krishna must have executed all kinds of austerities, fire sacrifices. He must have visited taken bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas. So that means, if you see, everything, the essence of everything is the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. In our sessions, people ask why we have to chant. You see, here chanting, this power of the chanting of the holy names is shared here by Lord Kapila. So we should take to the chanting process with utmost care, because the essence of entire Vedic literatures brings us to this point, to the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I was asked to summarize in 1 hour, a little buffer time I took, 5:20 now. If any one of you have any questions or comments, now we can take it up. Otherwise, I think we can hold this discussion. Okay. If not, one more thing also can be done. All of you can share one point. What? At least because all of you have gone through this, but what has helped you to remember from today's discussion? If any one of you would like to share, that is also most welcome.
Prabhuji, one learning, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Kapila's instruction. Bondage can be removed by Tivra Bhakti. That's really inspiring, Prabhuji.
Yeah, wonderful. Yes, Prabhu. So all of us have to perform Tivra Bhakti, and we need to know what is Tivra Bhakti from those shlokas and then learn. Okay, that's a good thing, Prabhu. Any other thing what you are recollected today?
Prabhuji, how Krishna is such a Bhaktavatsal, person. When he comes to, support the four Kumaras, and he also takes the onus of the mistake of the Jai Vijaya on himself. So that also, helped me understand how Bhaktavatsal Krishna is and how can he support all of us.
Yeah, actually, that chapter is really wonderful to understand the qualities of Krishna, chapter 16. Yeah, I was also feeling very, Krishna is such a wonderful master. So we should, who is that such a fortunate soul who don't want to render the service? That means if we are not rendering service to such a master, we are really unfortunate. And and really, Krishna, so that gives us a hope that I should dedicate my life in practicing Krishna consciousness, accepting Krishna as my master. Thank you, bro. That's a wonderful thing. Any other person wants to, any other devotees wants to share anything?
There's one question, Prabhuji.
Yes, bro.
So you said, I think Krishna wants to fight with the devotees, Jaya and Vijay, right? Because there are other demons like Dhenukasura and Kamsa. We can clearly understand, fighting with others is okay. But then why Krishna chose to fight devotees? Is there any reason behind it? What we can learn from that?
Yeah, generally, no, the tough, if you see, right, Putana and Agasura, all these things, have you seen that Krishna released the fighting? Here with Hiranyaksha, he fought for long time. No, Hiranyaksha was throwing weapons at Krishna, and Varahadev was throwing weapons at Hiranyaksha, and then they're pounding each other, illusory tricks, and he was relishing fighting. But in the Krishna's killing all those demons, he was just coming and no, Putana, you see, just suck the blood, gone. Agasura, but he entered and then he killed. You will not see his relishment. Of course, he's killing, he's fighting also, but he wants to relish the fighting, the Virya Rasa. Okay, that is the reason. Because and that he can't do with any ordinary person. If he has to do, he has to do with his devotees only. No, that is the thing. I hope it's clear, right, Prabhu? Understood difference?
Okay.
Yes. So Krishna, anything he wants to do with devotees only. So devotees are so special for Krishna. So that should inspire us to become devotees.
Okay.
Okay.
One last question, Prabhuji.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you said for any desires we can directly approach Krishna rather than asking these things from demigods, right? And if that is the case, right, what is the role of demigods? And as Krishna is unlimited in every respect, are demigods not redundant in this entire universe? And yeah, it may create some confusion or some disturbances in living entities, right? If that hierarchy is created.
Yeah. So the thing is, there is a difference in approaching demigod, difference in approaching Krishna. Like for example, we always give this: a child going into a shop and asking for a cigarette, and immediately the shopkeeper doesn't care; he only needs money. But if the same child goes and asks his father for a cigarette, he is concerned. So similarly, when a desire, if someone jiva is going with a desire to the demigods, no kankshante karmanas. If they perform some rituals and some procedure, demigods are obliged to sanction your desire. They don't concern about your welfare. But if you do the same thing, if you go and ask Krishna, and if you're genuinely asking and you're practicing devotional service, then Krishna knows this desire is not good for this jiva. Let me not sanction. Or even if I have to sanction, I have to plan for his welfare. So just like a father's role, demigods like the playing the role of a shopkeeper. So now you may say, okay, this is one thing. Now you're talking about the redundancy. And one more thing also, no, Lord Krishna, not every living entity goes and approaches Krishna. Why? Because depending on the consciousness of the living entities, they approach different demigods. You see, right, even here also in city, we are we are practicing Krishna consciousness, we are trying to preach, but still people go and again they enter Sai Baba temple or this temple or that temple. It doesn't, it requires really time for one to committed to Lord Krishna. Now, what to speak of those people who don't even know about who is Krishna and everything. And everyone understand every God is same. Every God is same. They think like that. But I'm saying those who are knowing little bit about Krishna, still they don't get that conviction to exclusively give themselves to Krishna. You understand, right? That's why Krishna has designed that based on the consciousness of the people, they will approach different kinds of demigods. And what to speak of demigods? People worship ghosts. Why? Because their consciousness is like that. So that's why it's very important to work upon our consciousness. And chanting of the holy names can help, in a great way. Okay, Prabhu, understood?
Sure, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other question, comment, anything? Okay, hopefully, I'm hopeful that it helped you. At least it helped me. So thank you all for your patient hearing. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. I'm leaving, Prabhu.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thanks
Hare
a lot.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.